What if he has another like-minded situation either this year or next year? We have to have the conversation because, again, this is supposed to be a young, healthy, athletic player entering in his prime, and he's not available. It's
Right.
drawing. You could injury-prone players. You think of Byron Buxton. You think of Royce Lewis.
Yes.
You think of Kevin Kiermaier.
Yes.
Is Josh Lowe going to be that guy? When he's available, he's awesome, but when he's not, it sucks. And
you are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we are here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
And the season has started, so go ahead, grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins.
All right, Ulises, we didn't have much of a chance to talk about this on Monday's show, so we figured we would dive into it here, even though the Rays are beginning play against the Pirates. Hopefully a sweep at the very least. 2 out of 3. That's what I'll take. You can never expect a sweep, but I think against a team like the Pirates, which we'll get into later on, same deal, same thing as the Rockies. Take 2 out of 3. Any which way you can, although a few more runs would be nice this time around. Just saying.
And I don't think it's going to be easier because there's a guy who's coming in with the name of Paul Skenes, who makes it very difficult for hitters to do their job. So maybe not. If you're looking for this offense to wake up, maybe we need to either wait for the Pirates bullpen or just wait for another series, because this one's going to be a little bit tough.
Yeah, your runs might come on Monday or Tuesday, but Wednesday probably not going to happen against Paul Skenes. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But something we wanted to touch on was the injury to Josh Lowe. First game of the season. What was it, his second plate appearance? He got a hit in his first plate appearance, and then second plate appearance, he suffers a grade 2 oblique strain, which is worse than what he dealt with last year, and that was very trying and challenging for him. And already injuries happening to this squad. In fact, there was a little bit of a scare on, I believe, Sunday's game with Caballero at second, and that he might have pulled something, but I think Kevin Cash and one of the trainers came out to look at him, and then they were shooed away and he was able to remain. But it's like, man, we can't even get through one game, the first game of the season, without some sort of injury, a massive, massive blow. It's one thing to have the 26th man on your roster go down, but Josh Lowe was one of the primary characters that we were expecting to take advantage of the Steinbrenner dimensions and hopefully replicate or close to replicate what he did in 2023. And he's likely not going to do that this year. He could miss up to 7-8 weeks, couple months, basically, that you're going to be without him. And what's funny or interesting about the injury, the swing that he made, like, it's not like he was, when I looked at the replay, to me, it wasn't like he was swinging out of his shoes. It was like a very basic swing. It almost felt like he was holding back, that he was dealing with it previous to when he made that swing. And then it was like, oh boy, this doesn't look good, and he is going to have to exit for quite a period of time.
Well, the thing is, when they asked him about it after the game, he said it felt a little bit above his previous injury, which he thought it would be good because then that means that he wasn't re-injuring what had already happened. Apparently, it's even worse than what he was suffered from last year, which is a shame. He did say that type of swing he's been doing the whole spring, and it just happened to be that one that got him. It's unfortunate because obviously he's a big part of what the Rays are trying to do this year, offensively speaking, and with the dimensions like you're talking about. I mean, for my bold prediction was Josh Lowe and Brendan Lowe are going to hit a combined at least 60 home runs. I don't think that's why it was bold.
You're going to need like 45 from Brandon Lowe at least. He's already got one, so 44 more to go.
44 more to go, Brandon. You heard it here. It's a shame because you need those lefty bats to be available to take advantage of this park. And now you miss him for 7-8 weeks at least because you still need to do some rehab games and you need to get in baseball shape again, or at least get your timing right. It's not just 7-8 weeks of rehab and boom, you're in to go. I mean, not a lot of people are Yandy Diaz for the AL wild card game of 2019.
Right. Yeah, they can't hit 2 home runs oppo. Although I think Yandy tried to do that a couple times over the course of the weekend, which my hot take here is that he will get a couple over the short porch, perhaps, but we shouldn't have to rely on Yandy to provide that type of offensive punch. Okay, let me amend your bold prediction.
Okay.
Will Brandon Lowe, Cameron Misner, Jake Mangum, and Josh Lowe combine for 60 home runs? 60 home runs among the 4 or between the 4.
I feel pretty good about that one.
Okay. Well, I guess you have 2 out of the way. You only need 58 from the group.
I need 58 from the group. Yeah. Mangum, Josh, what do you got? If Josh can give me, let's say 15,
which I still think is maybe pressing it a little bit, because again, with these oblique injuries, this is where your power is generated through your throwing motion and your hitting motion. And we saw what happened last year where his OPS took a nosedive. I mean, really all of his numbers outside of stolen bases nosedive from 2023. So, even when he gets back in his quote 100%, how long is it going to take him to where he really feels like himself again? Or will he always, it could be a mental psychological thing too, where he's always thinking about that oblique and he's like, all right, maybe I'll do my 85% swing. I'll do my B swing more often than my A swing because I don't want to go down for the count again. It's just something to consider in my opinion.
Which, by the way, we've also had that question with Lowe himself with the back injury, back-to-back back injury. Yeah. So you're thinking, maybe that's why the power numbers are not going to be as high now that he gets a little bit older and he's maybe taking care of himself a little bit more so that he doesn't have as much torque on that body of his because he doesn't have a prototypical power, build for Brandon. So that's another thing. We have to now discuss what Josh Lowe injury means for the Rays in that lineup, because the lineup is going to look much more, can I say thinner in the next couple months. But I think we need to tell folks something very important first, Kev.
Yes, we do. We need to tell them something very important here.
March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. In fact, new customers right now can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Again, 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, whatever you want. Even on who's cutting down the nets, you can do that at FanDuel. Go for the underdog. Why not go for the underdog? Whoever that is, in your opinion. So again, today, go to FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long.
All right. If I can say about your amended prop bet or bold prediction here. So Jake Mangum had, I think, 6 home runs last year with the Durham Bulls in 104 games. He is not a home run hitter. He has 24 home runs in his minor league career of 432 games, I believe. So he is trying to do other things. But Misner has a little bit of pop to his game. Hit 17 homers in 113 games with Durham last year. The year before, he played 130 games and hit 21 home runs, 32 the year before that with Montgomery. So he does have a little bit of pop. And speaking of Misner and Mangum, I guess that the Rays really do not trust Eloy Jimenez to play the outfield because Mangum gets the call and Misner gets the call before he gets the call.
Yes, I agree that that's definitely a factor into this call, into both of these calls. I will say I'm happy that it's Misner and Mangum that get the call. Like Eloy, no. I think this is just this is more merit based. I think no, Misner gets he has earned that call, and then with Palacios being down, and then you know what? Josh gets hurt. Mangum, he won the batting title last year for bleep's sake in that league. So no, I definitely think it's a factor that it wasn't Eloy because they needed an outfielder, but I also think I
guess they want to save a couple $1 million too. I don't know what that him getting called up to the majors, what that means as far as his contract and salary considerations, but
wouldn't put it behind it. Wouldn't put it. Yeah, that's definitely.
I mean, this is and like you said on Monday's show, this is you have a lane. If you're Cam Misner and Jake Mangum, take advantage of it.
Yes.
No matter how much playing time you get, you need to put yourself on tape, whether it's with the Rays or somebody else. I'm a little bit nervous about having, 162 combined about Misner or Mangum, but maybe they surprise us. Maybe they become journeyman type players who always find a roster spot here or there for the next 5-6 years. But like Misner had his moment on Friday. That might be the best moment of his entire major league career.
It could
walk
be.
Off on opening day, 9th inning, first pitch, game winner at home at Steinbrenner. You might not, that's your Dan Johnson moment right there, which is great for him. But how do you build off that and continue to show your value to this team going forward? And I think for him, it's great because that is maybe a calling card of, okay, I can do this. I belong here. Maybe that gives him the confidence to kind of strike through a little bit more. And I mean, I saw some good defensive plays from him, and they don't seem like they're, totally out of place yet. It might take the pitcher some time to figure out them and their weaknesses and so forth. But again, here's your opportunity. What are you going to do with it?
And Mangum had a few good swings too. A couple fly balls that looked like they could have gotten out. They unfortunately didn't. But yeah, this is so it's 7 to 8 weeks. Expect that he's out at least, right? So then how can you get production for the 7-8 weeks? Is it a combination of Misner and Mangum? Possibly. Could Eloy factor in there? Yes. But I think the whole 7-8 weeks is not going to be just Misner and Mangum unless they're doing their job. If they're surprising, then that's who it's going to be. But I feel like for the first half of those 7-8 weeks, let's say 3.5, 4 weeks, they're going to say, hey, Misner, Mangum, here you go play. Okay. What do you got? Let's see what we have in you. Okay. In a short amount of time. If they surprise, if they do positively, hey, here you go. You have now afforded yourself the next 4 weeks. Go have fun. Keep playing. If that doesn't happen the first half and they're struggling and it's not looking good, that's when I think week number 5, like early May, you could see Chandler Simpson being told, okay, we need you. What do you got? You want to show off? Here you go.
Chandler on the clock. So if he gets the call, is it your premonition that he moves over to center and DeLuca to right, or they pinpoint Simpson, hey, just take an outfield position? I mean, Morel's looked good defensively, I think, in left. So maybe they just stick Simpson in right field if DeLuca's handling center. I mean, I don't know how they're going to work out that deal.
Yes and no, because he did have a great play, Morel, and left on Saturday. He looked kind of lost on opening day with a couple of caroms. But again, the caroms, that can happen to anybody. So I'm not going to hold it against Christopher Morel. But if Simpson comes up, I mean, we've seen how when in the past center fielders for the Rays that became center fielders, they started in the corners, right? So you saw Desmond Jennings play left
Right.
field before moving to center. You saw Kevin Kiermaier play right field before going to center. So I wouldn't be surprised about that. However, Evan Klosky has done a tremendous job exposing how Johnny DeLuca is just an incredible corner outfielder defensively. The metrics just love him in the corners. They don't necessarily love him in center field. So, are you going to possibly get a positive net value add if you put Simpson in center field, who might just be average, just kind of like DeLuca to start, and then DeLuca, you move him to the corner, and now your corner defensive skills now have increased to the point that now you have an overall value positive than you had before. Right. That could be a play. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And at some point we got to circle back to this. Josh Lowe, when is the point when we call him injury prone? When is he get that negative label of being an injury prone player? But before we get to that, Ulises, I think we need to tell the audience something very important.
Yes, we do. So let's go ahead and do that. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. They've got an easy-to-use website packed with helpful resources and latest products information to help you get the job done right. Plus, they've got an inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, so you'll get exactly what you need and delivered fast from coast to coast. You can join their free Trade Master program, which offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order by going to supplyhouse.com/TM, and you can start ordering everything, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. Again, you can do all of that at supplyhouse.com.
All right. Josh Lowe. I would say I still think it's a little too early to call him injury prone, but if he has another like-minded situation either this year or next year, we have to have the conversation. Because again, this is supposed to be a young, healthy, athletic player entering in his prime, and he's not available. It's drawing, you could, injury-prone players, you think of Byron Buxton. You think of Royce Lewis.
Yes.
You think of Kevin Kiermaier.
Yes.
Is Josh Lowe going to be that guy? When he's available, he's awesome, but when he's not, it sucks. And I'm just concerned right now. But I still think it's a little bit too early. Let's see when he comes back and what he does. But we're on Josh Lowe watch right now, unfortunately.
I think it's a valid concern. I am with you. I think it's maybe just a step early before we can give him the injury prone label. Yeah. But he's right. I think he has exhausted his options to not be called an injury prone. Like the next one, I'm sorry, that has to be you're an injury prone guy, because like you're saying, you're not a guy who has 35 and getting some.
You're not Mike Trout, who played how many years in the league, and now he's starting to wear down a little bit. Like this is a guy that has not had that much action.
Right, and it's so funny how perception. Perspective is everything. Nietzsche, I think, said that once. Everybody would look at Yandy Diaz and say, well, yeah, Yandy's injury prone. Is he though? Because Yandy plays 140 games on their nose basically every bleeping year. 140 games. I don't know if you have the numbers right in front of you, Kev, but you can, once you get them, you can tell me how many games he's played basically every season with the Rays. I know he got hurt in 2019,
I do have so we can ignore 2020, but 2021 134, 2022 137, 2023 137, 2024 145. That's pretty solid.
That's, I mean,
In his 30s.
Exactly. And I feel like Rays fandom, and maybe like outside of Rays fandom that like has some knowledge of Rays baseball, would say, oh, Yandy, yeah, he's injury prone. What? No, he is not. No, he is not. A guy that posts 135 games plus year in, year out. I'm sorry, in 2025 baseball, he is not injury prone. But
what about
Josh
this?
Lowe,
Is Brandon Lowe injury prone?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because 2022, 65 games, 2023, 109, 2024, 107. That's like, that gives me Kiermaier vibes, basically.
It's total Kiermaier vibes with Lowe. So now this Josh injury kind of puts a little bit more pressure on Lowe because he's now the guy. He was the guy that's supposed to give you the most pop from the left side, but with Josh behind him, you're thinking, okay, well, that's a good little tandem. Now with that out, now you're going to have to, be pulling for obviously the auxiliary parts like Aranda and Misner and Mangum to hopefully give some production while Josh is out. But it has to be Lowe, man. It has to be Lowe now.
Yeah. I'll just say this, if Lowe gets hurt simultaneously with Josh Lowe, we're kind of screwed.
Oof,
we probably don't have a shot to do much of anything this year.
I agree.
There's a window where they're both missing a couple weeks at the same time. You're in a really, really tough spot there, unless you're able to make some sort of major trade. And I'll say this about Josh Lowe. Like, if he gets hit in the wrist or something, I wouldn't label that as being injury prone.
No.
This was on a swing. He wasn't hit by a pitch. There wasn't anything crazy that happened. He didn't lean over a wall and got hurt that way.
A grounder that found a hole.
Process of the game, and he goes down.
It wasn't like, also like a Superman type grab in the outfield. No. Just like you're saying, a normal swing. So hopefully the guys that can step up while he is absent do. Yeah. And he is able to get recovered quite quickly. Before we end the show, I do want to say something about the lineup construction on Sunday's game, which, by the way, of course, it was a victory. But I do want to go back to it.
Okay.
And I don't know if this was, by the time that we're recording, I don't know if this has been answered, but I don't believe so.
Probably not.
Probably not, because I don't think these types of questions get asked. But why is Taylor Walls batting fifth?
That's pretty bold, I'll say.
And
hide him in the middle of the order.
And now
confidence. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just, hey, where you probably feel sucky about yourself that you're batting bottom third of the order, batting eighth, ninth, wherever it is. So we're going to try to uplift you a little bit. I know that was I think Joe Madden used to do that when guys were in a slump. He'd put them lead off. So maybe there's something to that effect, or they trust Walls to somehow get on base for the bottom half of the order.
What I thought about was like, they themselves know Walls is not a great hitter. So if they put him in the eighth or ninth hole, then when you turn the lineup over with your guys, your Yandis, your Lowe's, whatever, then they're not going to have people on base because Taylor Walls is not going to be on base. However, in this game, Yandy was leading off, then Mangum, and then Lowe was third. So you're actually getting Walls after them because he's fifth. So it's, I just want someone to start questioning lineup decisions that are so blatantly obvious, like, why is Taylor Walls batting fifth? And that I just want an answer. And whatever answer that they give me, fine. I will take it. I will receive it. And thank you so much for sharing that knowledge. But I need someone to ask very blatant questions, such as, why is the guy that has a 180 career MLB batting average and a 78 WRC plus hitting fifth? Is it a new age lineup construction that we have now figured out, just like the Yankees figured out torpedo bats in the year of our Lord 2025? Have we now found out some incredible analytics that in the 5th spot, that's where you put your worst hitter? Maybe, but I would want the bleeping question to be asked, and I want the bleeping answer to be given. That's all.
For the record, Taylor Walls did have a hit and a walk and a run in the game, and the Rays did score their most runs in that series. Who knows? Maybe his swing path aligned well with the opposing pitcher, Ryan Feltner. There could be a myriad number of reasons. But yes, that would be good for a Mark Topkin or a Ryan Bass or somebody. Not have to be rude about it, but hey, what was the reasoning for Taylor Walls? And you can frame it like, hey, he had a good day at the plate. You all must have noticed something or observed something pregame that mirrored him being 5th in the batting order. And there we go.
Yes, there are ways to ask this to not look like an
Yeah. Well, they had Jake Mangum batting 2nd in his debut. So, there's been some quirky things here and there. And then Johnny DeLuca batting 9th goes 3 for 4. So crazy things happen every once in a while. And then just real briefly here, yes, the Rays are facing the Pirates. It's funny, the Pirates, they started the year 1-3. Every game in their series against the Marlins of all teams, were lost on walk-off. So you hope that a team like that down in the dumps, then have to go back on the road and face the Rays, that works in the Rays' favor. That remains to be seen. But again, this is a team that you should be able to do solid work against. Similar to the Rockies, it's been a very long time since they made the playoffs, 2015 to be exact for the Pirates. What's crazy to me a little bit is, time must fly because I did not realize this is Derek Shelton's 6th season at the helm of the Pirates. It's crazy how things work because people were always crapping on Derek Shelton as the hitting coach, and now he's been the manager for going on 6 years with the Pirates. They haven't won that many games, but there's a myriad number of reasons for that, i.e. ownership and spending money and making bad trades and things like that. But they do have the ace in the hole, literally, in Paul Skenes, who the Rays will be facing on Wednesday. He has a new pitch, a cutter, so he is probably going to be even more lethal or as lethal as he was in 2024. And I'm just going to bank it now. He was my top pick in the fantasy draft, the Locked On Rays fantasy league that we're in. So I fully expect him to win the 2025 Cy Young. And when it's all said and done, he will have a career that mirrors Justin Verlander and or Max Scherzer. I think he is that good. He might not have as many wins to his name just on the surface of playing for the Pirates, but he's going to be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
I think it's so early.
Or he could turn into Steven Strasburg.
Right. It's so crazy. I think he has all of the potential in the world to be that guy. I feel kind of weird just saying those things after seeing so many people with so much talent just go off the wayside. But does he have the potential to be a guy that puts up? Yes, 100%. Watch him. And if you're a baseball fan, maybe just take off your little race hat, just a couple innings throughout his outing, and just enjoy it for what you're watching, because you enjoy the sport. Enjoy Paul Skenes as
even though he might strike out 14 against the Rays and totally shut them down. Just again, that's the benefit of having these interleague games, especially so early on in the season, right out the gates. You get to see guys that you hear about that you may not be able to watch on a regular basis. And if there is some appointment viewing that is Paul Skenes against Ryan Pepio, with the emphasis on Paul Skenes. And who knows, maybe Pepio goes toe-to-toe with him. If Pepio does what he did in his first start on opening day, then the Rays should have a shot to win. Yes, you just might have to get to the bullpen of the Pirates before getting that shot to win.
You can also win 1-0 games, people. Solo bomb, Lowe, right field porch. There you go.
Get it done in the first inning, hit that solo home run, and then
and let us sweat for the rest of the 9 innings left.
Exactly. Let's do it. There we go. All right. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you later.